Hello and welcome to Devon for another episode of Sandy the Landy. If you like this footage, please subscribe. Hit the old dingly bell symbol next to the subscribe and it warns you when new footage is being dumped up. Check back weekly. I don't publish daily, but I do publish fairly frequently. Give me a... Motivates me to do an awful lot more of this, I tell you. Probably also helps my YouTube algorithm. So it helps the channel. If you must give me a thumbs down, then, you know, it happens. I don't please all the people. I certainly don't please them all the time. My missus will tell you that. If you want to let me know why you've given me a thumbs down and help me to improve the channel, then drop me an email. churchhouseclassics, it's all one word, @gmail.com. You can also put comments in the section below. I do look at every single comment. I respond where it's appropriate. I do read every single email and I do respond. In this episode, I'm going to be dealing mainly with the rear body section of the vehicle. So you've seen me take the fuel tank out. You've seen the state of the rear cross members, the body support panels that go underneath the rear floor. Before I put the new fuel tank back in, spoiler alert, I'm going to replace the cross members, and this is how I do it. Alright, going to get on with Sandy. We've been stuck out in the field for a couple of weeks now, but I've got misty leak. Surprise, not surprised, absolutely medieval, biblical rainstorms we've had here. Right, there's a couple of things. I've got the cross members for the boot floor, which is good news. So I'm going to relocate arse first into the barn and see if we can get it sorted out. Security measure. Silly arse. Right, okay, let's just check. Crikey, it's misty in here. It's humid in here because my glasses have steamed up. Yes, it's got a splash of petrol in there. It's still connected. Let's get... It's probably got enough petrol in there anyway. Right, that's connected. That's connected. That hurts for some reason. I can go down. Let's give him a start. Oh! Oh! Right, we've got power. Well, that's not bad, having not started for 2 weeks, is it? Right, let's get up into dust field. How sweet is this thing running? I already want to paint these as well. It's just running beautifully. What we've basically got here, this is the wooden floor that was in the back of the Land Rover. It's not standard floor, someone's lobbed this wooden floor in there. And underneath is the original floor, but I need to get all this out, you see, so I can access the heads of the bolts, or the pop rivets that secure these chaps in. With me? With me. And I'm puffing and panting because that was hard work getting that out there. I think it kind of went in through gravity. It was wedged in on these two back corners. You see where I had to get a bit violent with that corner. But yeah. It's a step forward, isn't it? I might have to get in here with Mr. Broom, I think. Basil, as he's otherwise known. Not Basil Fawlty. I know he's been in the news this week. But Basil Brush. For those of you who might remember Basil Brush. Hey, it's like shithouse door off a Grimsby trawler. Punchlines from unrepeatable jokes. Now there's a bit of water under here. So it probably wasn't a great idea, really, put that wood over the top. But underneath here somewhere, I'm expecting to find, here we are, pop rivets. I'll just drill these fuckers out. And then I'll be able to, little access panel there. Of course, because of the fuel tank. could not get these things off. So basically they are, there's one around here somewhere, spire nuts that are captured. Where's it gone? I had it just now. I was looking at it. No, they're basically the spire nuts that are captured with screws on the top, and I just could not get them out. So all I'm doing is grinding the heads off the screws until I get down to the washer, which you can see here, and then the plate comes out. There's a very hot washer and there's a solvable plate. Now, all I need to do now is lift the spire nut off the car and bash it back down again. So, and they come off in your hand, so to speak. That one's not going to come off there, look at that. That's even stuck there. Let's just try shock him out. There we are, he's gone. That's what I'm talking about. So basically you've got a spire screw that goes through a spire nut, and they're just seized in solid. And they put a screw head on the top, flathead screw on the top, and yeah, I couldn't get them undone. Anyway, that's rubbish. The only disappointing thing is that one of these is broken off. So what I might have to do here is just line up and put a hole through for one of these other clips. So this one I'll have a clip over there. It'll do the job, won't it? Right, okay, so we are now ready, I think, to put one of these chaps on, one of these cross members on. The cross member that goes across above the tank, it's not the best, but it will do the job. That's the earth for the tank there. Shiny stuff. These are quite widely available. There's various different prices. There's lots of different suppliers. These particular items came from Paddock Spares, and they come galvanised, which I thought, well, considering some of the suppliers are selling them ungalvanised for exactly the same price, I thought I'm going to go with that. The only problem with galvanising is, and you find this quite common with galvanising, it tends to plug up holes. So I need to drill holes through and get those sorted out. That's not really going to be a problem. And then I need to fix them to the floors. So on this side here, you see a little bit of the floor has started to corrode away. This kind of level of corrosion on aluminium is quite common, especially where steel is nearby. You can see holes here and so forth. I'm not particularly worried about this sort of stuff. There's a cross member, that one that's just behind the, just forwards of the fuel tank cross member. So this is the chassis cross member here. Good grief, what is that? Mud, I hope. I think it's actually, I might have to get the floor out of this thing. That looks like underseal. Underseal with a shaving of rust. Quite a lot of it up there. A lot of mud. This is the joys of working with old Land Rovers. This is what you you get used to this. I'll need to get underneath and sort all this lot out. Actually, it's just as far as it goes. There's quite a lot of sand on top of the cross member, which is what I'm just noticed, and really just pushing it all out. I've never seen it come off like that before. I mean, well, that's pissed on my fireworks. It looks like I need to take the floor out in order to get these supports in. Now, I might be able to lift the body up to get the floor supports in, but as I've got to do 4 of them, and now 5, because I might as well replace the one that's half rotten, I'm going to need to take the floor out, which appears to only be held in with a few rivets. So I'm going to drill all of these spot welds out on these rails, take these off, grind the heads off all of the bolts down the sides, and I think, because I found out, I was doing a bit of research, the rivets that go through the ends of that believe it or not is a floor cross member, but these rivets that go through, they seem to be some sort of like donkey strength pot rivet, and they go in with a special tool. Yeah, about that. So I'm going to go through, grind each one of these tops off and get this floor out, because I can't see any other way that I'm going to do this easily. which is a bit of a faff actually. It's not something I prepared myself to do, but while I've got it all apart, I might as well do it properly, hadn't I? Bollocks. Because basically once the floor's out, I can then put it in at an angle and slide it around and straight. The problem certainly with this back one here is I can't get it in with that rear cross member in the way. Now, I've absolutely no doubt that someone watching this video right now is going to say, oh no, you need to do it with the blah-de-blah-de-blah. But as I've got 4 of these to put in, 5 of them, I need to get another 2. As I've got 5 of these to put in, I'm kind of resigned to it now, really, aren't I? Oh, what fun. What fun. Yes, we love this game. If you do know a way of putting these floor supports in without removing the floor, without removing the tub, then drop it in the comments down there. These support ridges, slide rails, reinforcing rails, whatever you want to call them, all came out pretty easily. No real issues with them. These are the undersides, the undershaft. You can see there's quite a lot of salt and shit under there. This car's had some fun on the beach, isn't it? Some wet people in the back, I expect. I clear all that crap out, and now it's just a case of, to get these bolts out here, there's a bolt there, but to get these rivets out, which you can just about see there, hopefully, I just grind the top flat and then get the drill on it. So it's literally just a kiss with the flat wheel and then go down. This one I made a bit of a meal of. That was the first one I did. Then I realised if you just kiss the top, then push them through, hit them, and it works a treat. Now, the only problem I've really got is that there's a mounting here. But you can see the floor is actually quite flexible. I'm going to have to get in here before I kneel in there again because it's all bits of metal. But there's not many supports at that end of the floor, so I can't lean too far forwards, otherwise I'm just going to buckle the floor. I suppose worst case scenario is I end up replacing the floor, but I don't really see a reason why I'm going to need to do that. I shall pop rivets and plates underneath these bits while I've got it all apart. I'm not going to weld the aluminium. This stuff's paper thin, but with the floor supports underneath it, I think it'll be all right. Well, this is turning into a lot less fun than I had envisaged. So I ended up largely grinding the heads up because more often than not they were just not responding to the drill, or the drill was too close to the edge, or whatever. And now I find out there's a rogue spot weld here. Why rivet it and spot weld it? Yeah. And also, I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up, sorry, just putting up centre tension. I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up having to take the bulkhead out behind the seat. Yeah, he's off. Right, now, how far can I go now? There's not another one, is there? Why have they put spot welds down this side? Wire brush, here we go. Fucking hell. Maybe this is just their idea of fun. There doesn't appear to be spot welds on the other side. Let's see what happens now. There we go. We're heading in the right direction. I wonder if I can actually get that floor support underneath now. Another one there. Where's that one? No, I can't see it. I was kind of, yes, there's a spot weld there. I was kind of thinking about replacing the floor. But we're moving beyond the boundaries of a bloody restoration here. This is typical kind of Richard going too far on a project this is. So I just drill the spot weld and then pop the floor. Now I am wondering, perhaps, if that's enough room to get that cross member underneath now. Because now I've got the back end of the floor lifting. It might be. It might just be. Right, quick sweep of the floor, and then we'll, because you can imagine, there's all manner of grinder sparks down there. A pile of shit that I'm working with is growing by the second. Still causing amusement, this. So I got the floor on the passenger side loose, except for the very front rivets. Sorry about the huge noise there. And there is a rivet there, right there. Okay, and there's rivets all the way along here, some of which I've managed to knock out, some are still wanting to be knocked out. There's one I haven't ground off there, by the looks of things. That's a pain. And one right in this corner over here. All the way along this side, the driver's side, there would appear to be spot welds. You can see one there. If I get the rev cable out of the way, you can see one right there, the bastard. I'll have him right now. There's one there as well, look. Why are they spot welded one side and not the other? Is this a Land Rover joke, I wonder? Possibly. Right, let's drill that one out quickly while I'm here. If I can find the drill. Here's the drill. If I suddenly end up going downwards, we know what's happened here. He's out. Now, what's that one there? No, I don't think that is one there. Well, if it is, the floor's moving either side, and there might be one here. So it's just a case of lifting the floor again. Now, what I was going to show you was all these rivets, and there's loads of the fucking things. So that there are 2 there, 4 there, 4 there, 4 there, and 2 there. 3 of which I would appear not to have yet drilled out. And they are, I get all the way out of the car. Fuck you. The detritus pile is growing by the second. This one here, I'm pleased I'm actually doing this because this is one of the rails that I thought I was going to save. As you can see, the end's broken off it. So I'm actually quite pleased I did decide to do this, because we might as well do the thing bloody properly, haven't we? There's no point going to all this effort and then finding that it's not been done properly. Right, okay, so now if we go under the tail end of the floor, here you can see these triangle sections, and that's the rivet there. That's the other side of these rivets. So I'm going to have to drill the fucking things out. There is no choice. Unless the word on the street is that this cross beam here, which I can't see somehow, is part of the floor, because it can't be. Because it's welded onto this is the seat base here. That's underneath the driver's seat, that bit. That's the rear section where the tools go. And this is that bulkhead piece. So I'm going to just going to have to get in there and drill them out. Now, the slight issue I had in there was access, because the bulkhead slopes forwards. But you can see this floor is not particularly good under here, but once I get the floor right, I can assess it and decide what I want to keep and what is going to end up getting scrapped. You can see a big lump of floor over here. It's just hanging off. This is one of the cross members. It's not actually attached anymore. There. It's because I drilled the spot. Let's drill the rivet out. Big lumps of crap falling on my head all the time under here. If you're going to get work on an old Land Rover, folks, pressure wash it off first of all. Look at this shit that falls off. And all this crap just ends up in your hair. Not that I'm particularly bothered about my hair. Sorry folks, getting up there. But you can see all of this pile here, all of that has come out of this car or off this car. Certainly lightening it up. Now let's have a look at this floor now and see how much of this comes up. Ah, none of it. Let's pop back down again. Let's pry it up. Oh, that would appear to be up right to the very end, on both sides. That's encouraging. now it's just a case of getting those rivets out at the end here. Some of them, if we go up there with Mr. Torch, I need to put the board back in here at some point. Some of them, you can see here, that one's moved, that one just needs taking back a little bit further. These ones in here, I'm just going to have to go at them with the grinding disc because I can't get to them. I don't know what I'm going to do about these ones here. It might end up being flattening it as much as I possibly can and then getting the drill onto it. I did look at taking this bulkhead piece out, but it's actually spot welded to the sides of the car, to the outer wings, so I can't do that. Then I was looking at the costs of new floors and was rather horrified. So that ain't fucking happening. Here you can actually see this line, so we're just behind the door now. You can see a line of spot welds going up here. That's that edge of the bulkhead, so there's no way is that going to come out. I think on newer cars, certainly on the Safari Defenders, I think they're actually riveted, pot riveted, so you can drill the pot rivets out. But on this, that ain't going to happen. But you can see we are moving in the right direction. So I think this floor is going to end up being patched and pot riveted and it's going back in. But I want to at least get the worst of it sorted out. And once it's out, then I can sort the floor supports out. Because they ain't pretty, are they? I honestly thought this one was alright. Just shows you, doesn't it? And I went over it with Mr. Tappy. I hadn't de-rusted that side. That was a complete waste of fucking vac time, that was. But that's the bit that goes on top of the chassis there, and you can see it's rotted through. Never mind. Never mind. I wonder if you need a rear floor in the car to pass an MOT. Yes. I've just noticed this piece here as well that's been getting in my way is actually just pot riveted on. But if I lift up one side and then the other, I should be able to actually bring the floor out without taking these bits off. Because, I mean, it gets to a point where you can't take any more bits off it. It's a laugh though, isn't it? I did just find this. It's my right angle drill. It's like a left-handed saw, isn't it? I don't know. That might just about get into those two on the corners. That might be my solution. I'll give it a go. I will report back and let you know. So it's just a mechanical drill. It fits in the chuck and then you put the drill in it. We'll see what happens. Could be a bit cack-handed. It could be all right. Now, the top hat sections that are under the floor are actually still here. So that's the edge of the top hat section. So because they appear to be still reasonably rigid, okay, there's a bit of spring in the floor because there's no bloody supports under it really. So I'm trying to spread my weight as wide as I possibly can. And being a wee bit over £200 to our American friends and a smidge over 16 stone to our English friends, I don't know what that is in kilos. To our European friends, yeah, I don't want to be bending this floor. And the weather's picked up nicely. I might have to go into town and get some beer later on. I'm fed up with this. Right, enough of this bollocks. Enormous fun. Right, okay, I think we've actually got the whole floor loose now. So let me go and see if we can get the bastard thing out. I think that one of these trims has got to come off the side because it needs to come up in the air a little bit. So having this whole fucking floor loose, I still can't do anything with it. This might work. Yes. One, Series 3, fan, 109, floor. What a bastard. Whoa! Crikey. Right. Now, I think this has been a very, very successful job. And there's a good reason for that. And it's not, yeah, it's not pretty in here. Right, here we go. So, this was one of the cross members I was looking at keeping. I'm just going to hit it out with a hammer. It's not good, is it? It's got the blocks and things underneath it. And that will just pull out. What's got attached to it? Something's attached to it. Oh, it's the wing support on that side is attached to it. That one there, I was going to replace anyway. But you can see, it's getting a torch in here, sorry folks. You can see the one on the front there has not responded well. Oh look, my damper mounts. Wouldn't it have been easier to do the damper mounts without the bloody boot flooring? Oh dear, oh dear. Right, well now it's out. And the floor itself, okay, I've seen worse. And I've also seen better. These fellas along this edge here were a ball's ache. They really were. So as you can see, I managed to get the grinding disc to cut off half of this thing and then got a chisel to knock the other half off. And I did that on both sides, so I didn't need to drill it in the end. I just got bored with drilling. On the underside, on the undercroft, let's close the door 1 second. Right, on the underside, you can see the top hat section is largely okay. There's a couple of localised areas where it's rotted out. And to be honest, that ain't bad. Compared to the cost of a brand new one, that ain't bad at all. So I've got a feeling that's going to go back in once it's been cleaned up. Alright, then I shall patch the relevant holes, which is very much in line with my restoration idea. For the rest of this, I'm going to strip out all of the crap on the top of this chassis. So the top of the chassis doesn't look too bad. So someone's had this out before, you see, because they've welded a bloody great patch up here. You know, it's kind of getting towards the point now where I'm actually just thinking hack the chassis off here and weld a new arse end on it. But it's not going to happen. I'm not keeping it. I can't afford to. Another really helpful piece of floor cross member. Right. That there, by the way, is the fuel line. So that's the fuel line. What a twat of a job. Right, well at least I can do it properly. What I'm going to do for the rest of the day, I think, is I'm going to sort this wiring out. I'm going to get it all tidied up. There's no grommets on it, it's just a right shambles. So I'll get these cross members out, and then I think, because you can actually see this one here, that's the wing support. I don't know why it's still attached to this one. It's barely attached. In fact, there we are. It's come off. It's come off in the end. So the wing support was actually broken off, and there's the earth for the fuel tank, which I don't think would have been doing anything at all. Right, should we go in? Oh, not quite as flexible as I used to be. Right, I'm now standing in the back of a Series 3 109 van. These, you see, they just all lift out. Last one. These are the top hats. I don't think I've got the torch with me. What's the torch? What did I do with the torch? There it is. These fellas here are the top hat sections that the end of the floor pan sits in. So I'm happy enough with those. Those braces there, I don't know where they go to. There's the remains of one on each side. I've got a feeling it's going to end up being something to do with the leading edge of the rear wing. This one is particularly tragic. Oh, Mr. Gravity is still attached on here. I think yeah, it's off now. Oh. Right, and look, we has a hole on top of the chassis I hadn't noticed before. Oh, just give me a second, get the torch back here. light on that. That's easy enough to weld back. I can also weld on the inside of this area now, clean all the dirt and the crap off the top of the chassis. You can see it's been patched and patched and patched. But it's strong. Another big fucking hole there. Things you find when you start poking around. So there's going to be a couple more little bits of welding on here, I think. I'll get it all cleaned up and then I'll report back, but that's easy enough to just cut it out, seam weld a big lump of 2mm steel over the top. Here, I think what we've got here is a nasty plate that's been welded on. Over the top of rust. Probably because the floor didn't come out. But we can lever that up. And there is a hole underneath it, I can feel it. So what I'm going to do is I can cut that off there. That's the remains of I don't even know what that is. That's going to get cut off as well. Because the actual support is underneath it still. See? So that's going to get cut off. Oh, that's alright, isn't it? Oh, what fun. Didn't know there was so much headroom in these things.